from me and my mug of tea, cat mug, one of my favourites. So I've just had a very exciting delivery, and that is a new piece of kit. So I'm currently filming on my phone in all of the wrong settings. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I've just upgraded my shooting experience to the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I'm really excited about. I'll be honest, I was researching this about 1.5 years ago. I've wanted it for ages. So before starting this little YouTube channel, the only bit of kind of filming I've done myself is creating short form videos about safaris. So I've just been doing that on Instagram for my friends for the last year or so. And when I started doing that, I realized that I needed to have some kind of equipment. And so I researched on the internet, and this came up in like all the reviews. This was the best thing to use. And I think it was probably the model before this at the time that I was looking to invest in. And I ultimately decided not to invest in it because it was too expensive, and I just doubted my abilities of like, why would someone like me who's making a bit dodgy content on the internet need like a proper setup? So I didn't go for it. And in its place, I bought a tripod from actually the same maker, DJI, that basically holds your phone whilst you're shooting. And there's like a tripod bottom that can rest on uneven surfaces, or you can just hold it in your hand. It's called the DJI, hold that thought, I'm back. It's called the DJI Osmo Mobile 7. And it's been good, but now that I've upgraded to this, I kind of wish I'd got this the whole time. And it's just a good life lesson for me to do your research and then invest in the thing that you really want and you think is going to be most impactful, versus doing a halfway house and then ultimately upgrading later down the line. So I'll try and take that thought into anything that I invest in for this project going forward. But very excitingly, I've now got this little snazzy piece of kit. So this, from all the reviews, is so good because it shoots in really high quality. So it shoots in 4K and it's very small, and it's basically like a handheld camera that feels very discreet for content creation. There are lots of cool features with it as well. So I'm very excited to open it, and then I'm going to head out into the wild, into the outdoors later in the week and give it a spin. Okay, we're going in. So I always heard that you should save these up if you're a photographer. So I do wildlife photography on the side. And you should save these and put them in your camera bag, because they help when you're in wet conditions to soak up some of the water from your camera bag. Silica gel. Do not eat, throw away, unless you're a wildlife photographer. I might just Google that and make sure that that is the right advice that I'm giving. Okay, let's go. Ooh, it's bulky. Beautifully packed. We have got a gorgeous little bag here. We've got lots of different things nicely wrapped up. So this is the machine itself. Ooh. This is the very small and discreet Pocket 3. It's really light actually, it's lighter than I'd expected. With lots of different kind of sticky labels on it and stuff. Aha, that is the screen, which you can put sideways or vertical. Gosh, it's really responsive to the touch. That's very cool. Okay, we've got a microphone. Very snazzy. Gosh, it's so small. Hello. Practice. Gosh, I don't know what this is. Oh, I think this might be a battery pack handle. I think I remember from the reviews that this is something that you can plug in and give it extra battery. Very cool. And then there's something else here which looks similar but smaller. This is, tell you what, this is tightly packed. Okay, here, oh, this must be the tripod. So you get a tripod extension to screw in to the bottom of the camera, and then these little wings open up and give you stability if you want to put it in to the bottom, I presume, like that. Yeah, I'll work all this out. And then we've got, this is a microphone cover. I've seen one of those before. A cord. Something very small there. Oh, that is a different lens. So this looks like a wide angle lens that you put on the front of the camera to get a wider angle for your picture. Okay, going back into the box, we've got instruction manuals, lots of kind of QR codes, a quick start guide, which is going to be exactly what I need. I'm quite a techie geek, so with stuff like this I love reading all the manuals and learning all the different steps and the different functions that you can do. I'll then definitely go on YouTube and watch lots of tutorials and just try and figure out how, wow, this was confusing, how I make the most of this investment and learn how to operate it. I think that's a sticker. And then safety guidelines, warranty, and then in the box there's something else. Let's see what this is. Ooh, I don't actually know. Ah, okay. I think this is the protective case, yes. Osmo Pocket 3 protective cover. So this is what's going to keep it safe. And I presume that this goes inside the nice little bag and then everything is safe and sound. Okay, so initial reactions are lots of different attachments. Everything was very well packed and it feels like really high quality, which to be honest is what you'd expect for the price. I'm excited to learn more, a little bit overwhelmed because I feel like, ooh, it's like a big step up in my content creation journey. So I'm going to spend tonight putting all this together, reading through the safety leaflets, watching YouTube tutorials. If you've got any tips, please let me know. I would love to learn from people who are doing this much better than I am and have used this kit for a little while. And then later in the week, I'm going to head out into the wild and give it a spin and see what content we create. I'll be interested to like look at the different pieces of content I've shot alongside each other and see how different they are. Hopefully the 4K video is going to be a real step change in this channel and it won't be blurry and like echoey anymore, but I can't promise anything. I mean, knowing me, I'll find a way to do something wrong, not press record or something. But anyway, we've got a new adventure ahead with the DJI Pocket 3, so let's go. So Camley Street Natural Park is a 2-acre nature reserve nestled just behind King's Cross Station in London. You would not know it's here. It's such a hidden gem, but it's absolutely beautiful and packed with wildlife, flora, fauna, butterflies, bats, birds. It just feels like such a peaceful haven. Platform 9 3/4 has nothing on this. This is the real site of King's Cross. I actually come here quite a bit because I am a trustee for the London Wildlife Trust, which manage this property, in addition to about 35 other wild spaces across London. They do an amazing job, they're such a great charity. So I'm going to sit down with my cup of tea and a book in a minute and just enjoy. I'm just testing out a feature called Face Track, which means that when I move my face, the camera moves, which I guess would be useful if I was like running or moving. Does that work? I don't know, do I even move my head when I'm running is the question. This is when I realise I have a very static head. I'm just heading back to the chaos of King's Cross and gosh, I've just so enjoyed this little trip to Camley Street. There's definitely a misconception I've had and I've held for the last few years that you have to kind of get out of London to see the wild and feel like you've had an escape, and actually it's right on our doorsteps and maybe I should do more discovering of it. So let me know what you think. Maybe once a week in these little vlogs I should escape to a different part of London and discover a moorland or a patch of grass or a vegetable garden or something interesting going on, a new patch of wild, to see what London has to offer. It's funny how these things work. I've been playing around on this new piece of equipment for just about 20 minutes and I'm already feeling so much more confident with it. People are walking past and I'm just proudly strolling by, holding it and talking into it, which is I think says something about my embarrassment level starting to calm down. So yeah, first day of experimenting. I think we can chalk that up as a mild success until I get home and watch the footage and realise that you couldn't hear anything, but Oh well, we're trying, aren't we? That's the main thing. We're trying. My mum would say, you are very trying. Anyway, back to the chaos. Hi friends. Okay, it's 48 hours later and I'm feeling much less confident than I was in that video. So I got home and I transferred all of the footage from my camera to my phone to my laptop and started reviewing it all. And basically, as you might have seen in the footage, it was a little bit dodgy. And to be honest, what I shared with you was definitely a highlights reel. There was lots of footage where I chopped my head off, or the sound wasn't very good, or the footage was really jolty, or a mixture of all three. And it just made me realise how much I have to learn for this little project. Ooh, didn't mean to start recording that. Still trying to get you to... Oh dear. Hi. Still, oh, I'm not even in the shop. I definitely still haven't, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I still haven't figured it out. There's so much to know. For that test outing, I used the camera's kind of out of the box settings, so I didn't change anything. And in retrospect, I should have changed a few different settings before going out. I've since found an amazing creator. I will link him here and show some of his stuff here. And he does videos on how to set this camera up to produce the highest quality footage possible. Everything from tweaking settings in exposure to shutter speed to the rotational speed of the gimbal to produce footage that is actually okay to watch. He does the most amazing job. I don't want to gatekeep, I just want to share the news that I found this amazing man. And it turns out that I wasn't even shooting in 4K. I was shooting in 1080p because 4K is a setting that you have to kind of toggle on. So yeah, I learned all that when I got home. I definitely wish that I'd found his channel sooner. But I got home and just looking through the footage, I just felt pretty overwhelmed. I think there's a few things feeding into it. One is that even just my first video editing, that took me like 6-7 hours. I'm like complete beginner at editing and it's just taking a really long time and I feel rubbish at it. And I'm trying my best and trying to be kind of kind to myself, but it is taking a lot of time and energy to learn. I'm working on CapCut at the moment on desktop, and I think my little MacBook Air is about to combust. It's actually like making whirring noises because I don't think it can take in the amount that I'm trying to throw at it. And to be honest, I can't take in the amount I'm trying to throw at me either, so I feel quite like the computer. So that's one thing. I think the editing this week I've just felt quite overwhelmed by. The camera stuff, I just feel like I've got loads to learn. And I feel like I'm putting quite a lot of pressure on myself with this project, needlessly, but there's something in the back of my head which is like, you quit your job, you know, people are wondering what you're doing next, and this is what you're doing next, kind of, you know, making and editing bad YouTube videos. And of course, that's not my goal. My goal is to find a new career in the wild and figure out in a short space of time what that can be and share that journey with you through YouTube. But it does feel at the moment like I'm just putting pressure on myself for whatever I do out of work, like the first thing I do out of work to be perfect. And I think that's just pressure I'm putting on myself that nobody has given to me. It's just in my own head, but I'm feeling like I'm putting that pressure onto this project, onto this camera and my ability to use it immediately. And then the other thing, which I think is probably the bigger underlying factor, is that I have had a week where I felt quite anxious financially. I've been planning for this career break for the last 14 years. Every month when I've had my paycheck, I've saved anything I can and put it into a pot. And over the last 14 years have been building a little savings pot that I could use at some point. And this is that time. And so I feel like any outgoings at the moment, I'm really scrutinizing and I feel quite anxious about. And I no longer have any money coming in. I've had my last paycheck from my previous place of work. And so it's really just me and this savings pot now. And every day, obviously, I'm seeing it go down with a coffee here and a tube journey or a bus ride over here. And this camera obviously was a very big expense and a long-term investment, but I feel like I'm adding pressure by needing this to be perfect immediately because of the financial aspect as well and my general anxiety in that area of life at the moment. So yeah, I think there's quite a bit going on. Sorry for the monologue, but I just wanted to be completely honest and not hide those feelings of, I guess, struggling with perfectionism and learning to use this properly and learning how to edit and shoot and put it all together, and for the output to be anything less than Spielberg, which I know, even as I say it, I'm laughing at myself. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there for this week. Thank you for joining me. I hope to be back with some new positive energy next week. I hope you have a great week. We'll keep going, and I'll see you next time.